going to tie the Gremlin fly. It uses a woolly booger tail section. Start out by laying down a good base of thread. The hook I'm using is a Gamakatsu SC15. That is a 1/0 size. Next, pick 2 feathers of marabou in your favorite color. For this one, I'm going to be using olive. Tie in your marabou feathers and snip off the ends. Secure it with some more thread, that way it won't twist or come undone. Next, you're going to take a piece of saddle hackle, strip off one side of the feather, that way you've only got one side of the feather that has fibers left on it. Secure that in. Next, you're going to tie in your chenille. Choose what chenille you want to tie in and use. Now you're going to start wrapping the chenille. I like to use the chenille and wrap it in the direction where when I tie it off here in a second, it is going to be pulled tighter with the thread. So now I'm going to loop around and tie off. As you can tell, which way I turn, the thread will tighten up the chenille even tighter and hold it in place. Pull back your material and make sure you leave a good clearance around the eye of the hook. You'll need that clearance to allow the hook to articulate. Get your hackle pliers attached to your hackle. Just work your hackle up. I like to use a large hackle feather. This way the fibers of the feather will produce a good profile to the fly. Larger the feathers are for this, the more it'll hold up the front section of feathers that you will have. Be sure to secure this good at this point. Don't cut your thread. Again, leave plenty of room between your eye of the hook and your material. Next, we're going to whip finish. Just do a wrap or 2 of whip finish. Trim any excess around the eye of the hook. And be sure to zap a gap, as I'll be doing the thread material. If you do get zap a gap in the eye of the hook, easily take a needle, heat it up with a lighter, and run it through it. Next, you're going to use a flyman shank. I like to put plenty of super glue on the base of this, just so everything stays in place. As you're using the super glue, wrap over it. Don't put it on top of your fly thread. Rotate your fly over. Now we're going to tie in the belly section. For this, I'm using white marabou. 2 feathers also. Secure on the feathers. Make sure they're in place and situated properly. Next, you'll cut them off. This fly is going to have a color variation of like a rainbow trout or bait fish, light on the bottom, dark on top. Be sure to remember to lay down that good thread base. You'll be tying other materials on top of it. As you're tying this fly, just always remember to get your base materials tied down real well to the fly body. Next, measure your zonker strip. I'm using a grizzly olive zonker strip. I'm going to tie that in. Pull your rabbit fur back, attach it, make sure it's even on top. A few wraps around it. You don't need to overdo the thread because you're going to be tying on top of this zonker many times. Lay in some rubber legs. Rubber legs really help this fly. They allow it to have good vibration in the water along with holding a good profile. I feel the vibration and profile of this fly really are made by the rubber legs. There's 3 on each side. Sometimes I'll do 4. Rarely I'll do more than 5. Sometimes it's just what I've got left or on hand. Lastly, I'm going to use UV Palmer Chenille in olive. It's got some copper threads in it, along with olive and UV purple. I'm going to wrap this 4 times, always pulling back the material so I'm not wrapping on top of it. I really like this. I don't like I like this flash material. It does good at only having enough flash and not making it look like a Christmas tree with too much flash. Alright, you're going to wrap over top of this material, wrap it back and lay it down somewhat. Now for the final deer hair collar, make 3 loose wraps around it and pull it tight and let go, and it'll expand out just like that. Now I'm just working the thread base up and working the material back for the collar. This is going to be what you're going to use to put the flyman sculpin head on. Wrap back and forth a bunch. I'm building up that section of thread that's going to be glued, that's going to hold that head on. So just be patient and wrap. Don't overdo it. Be sure to check. The larger you get with that thread, the more frequent you check it. Here I'm going to just whip finish it off. Thread I'm using for this is a 140 size thread. Be sure to put plenty of zap-a-gap on this. It will allow the flyman sculpin head to stay on there. Make sure your fly is level, slide it on, hold it back. Make sure you have a good size area of your eyelet available for your line to go through. Otherwise you'll be mad when you're trying to thread it through there and it doesn't work. Thanks for watching the video. Visit adamcphotography.com or Fly Fishing Cameraman on YouTube. And as always, catch and release.